So today I want to reflect on St. John the Baptist in that Jordan River. Our Lord's addressing people who probably went there. Presumably. He's saying, what did you go out to see when you went down there to see John? What did you go out to see in the desert? Presumably they were all there. He's talking to a crowd of people who witnessed St. John the Baptist ministry, participated in it, were perhaps baptized by him. That baptism of St. John the Baptist in many respects kind of represents or is a symbol of the sacrament of reconciliation. There's our River Jordan right there. It's kind of a second conversion. Our first conversion is in the baptismal font, just like for the Jews when they were circumcised, they were brought into the covenant. But that's ultimately not good enough according to our Lord, because he sees that we also need ongoing conversion. A second conversion is what the fathers of the church referred to as the sacrament of reconciliation, something we go to repeatedly. So yes, we're only baptized once. You can only be baptized once. You can't be rebaptized. You can't be unbaptized. It's a one-time sacrament that leaves an indelible mark on the soul. And we're brought into the covenant, into this new covenant, incorporated into Christ. But the effects of original sin remain. Concupiscence and disordered passions still remain in us, even though we've been brought into this new covenant. So our Lord saw fit to give us this opportunity for a second conversion. And it's something we go to repeatedly. Some of those people he's addressing in that crowd, I wonder, if they were kind of a flash in the pan. Is it just kind of a whim? Why'd you go down there to see him? Was this just some kind of like, you were intrigued, you were curious, and are you just, was this just whimsical on your part, or were you really sincere? And is this something we can build on here? Do we have a little fire started that's going to last, or is this just a little flash in the pan? Because it's very much like building a fire. You got to start small, and you got to grow systematically. You got to do it in an ordered fashion. We all know that. Anybody that's tried to build a fire, man, unless you're just lighting one of those Duraflame logs, which, yes, I use. Okay, I just light one of those bad boys and done. All right, that's a special grace perhaps. But when you're in the outdoors and you got to build a fire and it's damp and cold, man, you got to be really careful about your preparation, and you got to get lots of small stuff. You think that's small enough? A pencil? You got to get smaller than that. You start with a little tinder bundle. And whatever you think is enough, double it in terms of your preparation and all your small stuff. And have it stacked in ordered piles, and you start building, gradually growing this thing. You don't just get a little thing going, oh, I got it, and plop a log on there. That's the classic newbie mistake. What's going to happen? It's going to flame out. And everybody's all happy and cheery for about 10, 15 minutes. Oh, great fire. Hey, what happened to the fire? It just kind of goes out, and then you're embarrassed, and then you got to go through the whole thing of fanning it and adding sticks and trying to salvage the situation. I'm telling you, we have to be in this for the long haul, folks. All of us. Our Lord expects that. We cannot ever stop feeding the fire, building it nice and solid. Not being just some little whimsical flash in the pan, but really nice and sweet here, the spiritual life, because the Catechism refers to this second conversion in the sacrament of reconciliation as an uninterrupted task. We never stop going to confession. It accompanies us throughout our journey, throughout our life. It's medicine for our soul. Our Lord anticipates our weakness and our tendency to fall and need this ongoing conversion. Hence, he gives us this opportunity, this uninterrupted task. Requires a lot of patience. We got to have the long view. if we're going to come forward and really build this thing, this life of faith, nice and solid. The long view, the macro view, we want to see the whole picture. We don't just want to flare up and then flame out. That's what happens sometimes to people. How do we build this thing nice and solid? We make sure like we're clamped on. We're feeding it on a daily basis. That fire in our soul until we get this nice glowing red hot bed of coals, this deep, rich, red, glowing bed of coals. Once you got that, man, now you got something you can work with. You can throw anything on there and it's going to immediately flame up. You can kick that thing into flame so easy once you got that, but we got to get that. That's an uninterrupted task, this second conversion. We can't ever stop. Can't take a break from our conversion. We got to work on it till 5 minutes after we're dead. Now, I like this word for patience that you hear James using. You know, he keeps referring to patience 3 times. He says, be patient. Be patient. Macrothumio, I had to look it up. Yep, I had to look up the Greek word there, and I thought that's interesting. The word for passions, our passions. You know, our feelings, our emotions. Thumio. Thumos, the word in Greek for our passions. And then they tack on this word macro, or macros. The wide, far, distant, like the macro view, okay, versus the micro view. We can't take a micro approach to our faith. We have to have a macro approach to our faith. Our passions, yeah, we get fired up and all passionate about something, but our passionate nature needs to be ordered to the long view. Macro passions. That's what patience, when we get down to the root of what it means to be patient, it's that we're not just a flash in the pan. We're in this for the long haul, and nothing's going to shake us off. We're clamped on like a little dog clamped on somebody's ankle. And we're not going to quit. We're not going to stop this ongoing second conversion. Now, brings us to this joyful occasion, Gaudete Sunday. I'll tell you, when we have that fire going, when we're living this second conversion, yeah, we might not be like all the time expressing our joy outwardly. There's a couple different words in Latin for joy, gaudere and laetare. Okay, so this is Gaudete Sunday. And it's like in this form, the hortative subjunctive in Latin, plural. So it's like gaudere, but addressed to all of us like in a command form or an exhortation to rejoice. Gaudete Sunday. We're all being called to rejoice, but what's neat is, as opposed to Lent, the 5th Sunday of Lent, we celebrate Laetare Sunday. Laetare and gaudere are 2 different words in Latin for the same thing. Joy, rejoice. With this difference, gaudere is kind of an inward joy. Laetare is like an outwardly manifested joy. I like this fact that in Christmas season, in Advent, during Advent we celebrate Gaudete Sunday, which is, we don't necessarily dance around and clap our hands, but we feel an intense inner joy. It's very deep. It's like that deep, glowing bed of coals. When we have that, we're not just some flash in the pan. It produces joy, but it's a steady, solid type of joy. There's a firmness to it. It doesn't just flare up like laetare. It may not be outwardly manifested, but we have this deep patience and long-suffering attitude towards our conversion. That gets at the essence of Gaudete Sunday.